sure deserves one. And when he's back from his break, you'll see his parts made in Japan. He is the modern man, so give him a break.
Well, hello there, morons. It's Victor Gimmeabreakman, and welcome to my GoPro walkabout. I've improved the situation a bit here. What I'm doing here is I bought the adapter for the GoPro 7. One of the bad things about the GoPro 7 is that you have to buy a $50 or $60 adapter. I think in Japan they go up to 9,000 yen, which is about 80 bucks, which is just crazy. An adapter just to plug in a regular mic. So I've got, anyway, a lapel mic right here. And it's pretty sensitive, I think. Maybe it's too close. Anyway, so that way I can hold the camera out that far. Using the linear mode today. Maybe I should switch over to... What am I using here? Yeah, switch over. No, I'm using the wide, extra wide. Okay, I like the extra wide. You guys can see more that way. And it's a slightly chilly day. Yesterday was a beautiful day. It was my first real day back in Japan. I got back from Guam on Monday. And by the way, let me interrupt myself, as I tend to do on these type of videos. This is a laundry video, which means I'm going to walk about. This is a walking, talking laundry video. It's a visual podcast, so you don't really need to watch. If you don't like my face, no worries, no worries. I know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Some of you think I'm beautiful. Some of you don't. That's fine. Did go to Barber 88 yesterday. One of my favorite barbers. I won't say my favorite barber. One of my favorite barbers. And he's out in Sioux City. Takes about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours out to get there. I got stuck in traffic on the way back. 3 hours of hell in traffic. Whew, took a long ass, very boring time lapse because of traffic. I got stuck 1 hour inching along.
Give me a break, man. Give him a break because he sure deserves one. And when he's back on his break.
Anyway, so today's video, as you can tell by the title, is regarding children and what we should be allowed to do with children and not allowed to do. And the reason I'm making this video is because a friend of mine, another YouTuber, recently had a child, and he also lives in Japan. And I won't mention him by name. He may not want it. You may guess if you want, but no, there's no point. You know, so it doesn't really matter because the issue is kind of a common, maybe common. I don't know. I thought it was actually kind of a strange question, but he asked me about his grandparents. Specifically, he said his in-laws, the child's grandparents, want to give his child a bath, and he thought that's strange. And he said that he doesn't even feel comfortable being nude in front of his baby, and he thought it would be very strange that to have anyone nude. What the hell is that? Look at that. Himawari. Oh, someone looked that up. Looks like a light. I think it's a big light. Himawari, low solar lighting system. Oh, interesting. It's a solar light. A lot of solar panels in Japan, by the way. There's a little garden. I'll give you guys something to look at, and I'll just keep talking, okay? We'll go this way. This is better. You have to look at my face. Anyway, these plots of land are quite expensive. You have to pay taxes if nothing's on the land. I don't know if you pay taxes if there's a garden, though. By the way, these laundry videos, I tend to get off tangent all the time, so as I comment on whatever I see in the neighborhood. Okay, so let's get back to this. So he asked me about this and what did I think about this, because he thought it was very strange. Now, I come from a Latin American culture, as many of you know. They're sprouting. Look at this little bonsai. That's beautiful, huh? Many of you know I come from a Latin American culture. In my culture, it's not a big deal at all to, I'm going to pause and take a picture, to be naked with your child or your infant. I shouldn't say child because that's kind of vague. Infant, right? And my mother, I remember, I don't know where they are now, but my mother took pictures because my mother has pictures of me and her nude, and she's holding me close to her chest, so I'm covering up her nipples, to be very specific. All the interesting things people always throw away. There's always something good in there. I'm always tempted to go through people's garbage like some kind of homeless person. But it actually gets a lot to go through people's garbage in Japan now, because a lot of people were doing it. Kind of seems like a waste, though. A lot of people throw away really good things. Anyway, so there are pictures in my house of my mother, very tasteful pictures, holding her newborns, usually newborns, in the bathtub, against her chest. And my father, of course, took those pictures. And this is pre-digital days, so he actually took those pictures to the photo mat. I guess in those days they didn't have photo mats, but they had some kind of photography developing center. What are those called? I don't even remember. Wow. Remember they had those little quick photo mats where you go and drop off your photographs in a booth, and then it's developed and you pick it up the next day or something? That's amazing. You just throw it in a box. Okay, anyway, so that's those are the old days. So what I'm saying is, if it was in the old days, you did not develop your own photographs, right? So you had to actually ask someone to develop it for you. So it couldn't have been that bad, right? And a lot of people did this. Now, of course, I understand that Latin American culture is not world culture. It's not the same everywhere. So I'm curious, and that's why I'm making this video, because I'd like to ask you guys what you think. Now, when I was in Guam and I got the message from my friend, this fellow vlogger, about this question, I thought, of course, I'm always willing to consider the fact that maybe my view is screwy. And there might be something wrong with the way there might be something, not maybe wrong, but something not mainstream about my way of thinking. Maybe what I think is common is actually just Peruvian culture or something, or maybe just my parents, you know. So I thought, as I woke up at 6 in the morning, went outside to see the sunrise, and when I was sitting out there doing a time lapse, it was pouring rain. I was doing a time lapse, and this woman came out in Guam at my hotel in the back, facing the beach, right on the beach, and she came out. We were chatting a little. She was smoking. She came out to smoke, which is a disgusting habit. But what are you gonna do? She came out to smoke, and I, you know, we talked a little bit, and I asked her. I said, I got a strange question. Oh yeah. So she was telling me she hadn't been to the island in 30 years. This is where it gets interesting. She hadn't been to the island in 20 years. Finally getting interesting. That's good. Yeah, this video has been so boring so far. I love the dragons that they have these. Anyway, she said, I haven't been back to Guam in 30 years. And she had an American accent. I said, well, where do you live now? She said, California. And she said we talked, and through the course of the conversation, I learned through, you know, comments that she made, that she had been married, she had 2 kids. And when she mentioned kids, I said, okay, you've had kids, so I've got a question for you. And I asked her, you know, what did you think about being naked with infants? And she said, that's totally normal. And I said, yeah, that's what I thought, you know. And I said, well, he's not American. He's an English speaker, but he's not American. He's British. I said, maybe it's a British thing. Maybe it's a British thing, I offered. And she said, yeah, those Brits, they're weird. So maybe they are. Maybe it is a British thing. By the way, if you ever find something in Japan, you will find things. People drop things all the time. You should just put it somewhere like that so it's easy to find again. So some kid forgot her helmet. So some nice person put it there and said, hey, you forgot your helmet. I see some flowers blooming over there, so we're gonna go check out those flowers. See that toilet over there? Remind me to tell you about what happened in that toilet. Anyway, so we talked some more, and I was, you know, it's funny how we humans need to, we enjoy being agreed with, right? So I was kind of happy that she agreed with me. Oh, she agrees with me, isn't that nice? I know I'm not crazy, right? There's a study, I forgot what it was called. There's a very famous study about sexuality where they, oh, here's some flowers over here too. Gotta follow the flowers. What was that called? It's not, damn it, I forgot. They actually made a movie about it too. I think Liam Neeson's in it, but before he was a racist. or before we knew he was a racist. Anyway, that study, basically they go around, they ask all these people all these questions, like how many times a day do you masturbate, how many times have you ever had, you know, homosexual experiences, and what, you know, at what age did you, all these questions, very specific. And what the hell is it called, man? I can't remember. Someone put it in the comments. So it's the scientist's name. It's named after the scientist. But anyway, the reason for that is that people want to know that they're not abnormal. Everyone wants to think that, hey, I'm not abnormal. That's just the way I am. I mean, that's just humanity. I'm normal. People want to think they're normal, okay? What the hell? Kingston's? No, that's not it. I don't remember. Look at these beautiful flowers. That's gorgeous. so it's getting warm. Spring is coming. Yeah, yesterday was a really warm day. I'm sure yesterday really added to the desire of these flowers to want to spring out of their winter shells. So we've got to take a picture of this. Oh no, have I been recording all this time? No, I don't think so. Let's get a little picture. What's a good one? How about that one? Check my Instagram, by the way. Instagram is Gimmeabreakman. Yeah, look at that. Oh, anyway, so Kingston's, I forget. Okay, someone put it in the comments. Anyway, people want to be agreed with. So isn't it nice? I thought this woman agrees with me, and it's not abnormal to want to bathe with your children. Let's get a little bit closer to this so you can see this. Ready? Look at that. That's interesting, huh? Someone put a lot of work into that. Of course, there's no wind now, so it's not working, but okay. Anyway, the river is that way. Shonaigawa is that way, if you want to look it up. Very nice flowers. Okay, so let's get back to it. A little bit later in the conversation, you know, she mentioned, I think, that she was divorced, etc., and how she got along with her mother-in-law so well. In fact, when she got divorced, her mother-in-law said that she wouldn't let her son back in the house. Oh, this is a good one. This is very clever. Look at that. And then she just mentioned that he was a pedophile. She goes, turns out no, she didn't say that. She said, it turns out I married a child molester. And that's really what my friend, I guess, is worried about, you know, because even the thought of being naked with a child makes people assume you're a child molester, which of course most people are not. And I thought I would kind of divulge some information about myself and my children experiences, or my experiences with my own children and my brother's children and other children. So before I had kids many years ago, I'll tell you kind of a funny story. Many years ago, before I had kids, my brother had kids. He had 2 little girls, and I was over at his house with my wife, and we were just having dinner or something, just hanging out. Here in Japan, he married a Japanese woman too, and we were sitting there talking on the sofa, and the kids had gone off to take baths with the mother. So my brother's wife was bathing all the children, which is not a big deal, you know, and they were having like a sleepover, like some other kids that I didn't know. I think maybe some cousins or some other kids, and maybe not gonna know, it was pre-cousin time. So some of the kids in the neighborhood were over too. They were having like a sleepover. So there were like 4, they were all girls, 4 little girls, I believe. I think they were all girls. They were all just, hi. They're all just hanging out. They're all taking a bath together, and we were hanging out on the sofa outside. And then suddenly, the little girls, you know, little children think really boring, silly things are funny. They thought it would all be funny to come out naked and just jump on the couch next to us and kind of just make a big ruckus. So they all ran out at the same time, screaming. Like, I guess they were kind of chasing each other, and maybe we just got, maybe they weren't trying to bug us. They were just chasing each other naked. And I guess it must have been summer, you know. They all came out. He has a pretty big house, and they started jumping on the sofa, up and down on the sofa, up and down on the sofa. And someone, I guess it was my brother, someone took a photograph, a couple photographs actually. And just for, you know, there's these, so here's the thing, there are photographs in the world of me and my wife sitting on a sofa with naked children, and they're like, I'm thinking they're from the ages of 3 to 6, I'm not really sure. Somebody used ski poles to make a garden. Look at that. It's kind of strange. And those metal things there, I think that's part of a can or something. I don't know what that is. That's strange. Kind of an old broken down house. in Japan they have something called gomi yashiki. Gomi means garbage and yashiki means like a shack. So every neighborhood has a gomi yashiki, which is a garbage house, literally garbage house. And it's kind of the eyesore and the embarrassment of the of the community, of the neighborhood. We might have just passed this certain area's gomi yashiki. I don't really walk around here very much, so I don't know the neighborhood very well, which is good because I like looking. I hope you guys like looking as well. It's always something interesting to see the way people live. These little bonsai plants, for example. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I think the gomi yashiki is over there. Anyway, so there are these pictures of me that if they ever got out on the internet would make it look like me and my wife were running some kind of underground pizza place, a child pedophile ring or something. I don't know. Oh, I've been around here before. Well, this used to be all broken down, and now it's still kind of grown over, but they've cleaned it up a little bit. Beautiful flowers, huh? Okay. So anywho, here's what I do. Oh, I'll bring it back a little bit more to something strange. You have to remember, I told my friend, the one who asked me for advice in the first place, I said, well, you know, in Japan, they have, in Japan they have onsens and sento, and it's not a big deal to be naked in front of strangers, right? Of course, strangers are the same sex usually. But there are, I think they're called kondo sentos. There are certain sentos still around in Japan that are I guess co-ed. So there are still sentos where you can go and you can go see naked old women. No, I mean there are certain places in Japan that are still anybody can go to. Look at a little bonsai there. Anyway, those still exist. I think I'm getting a little lost here. Anywho, so you have to remember the mentality is different, and a lot of foreigners, and me as well, I mean, I include myself in this generality, but a lot of foreigners have trouble when we first come over going to sento and onsen because we're not used to just taking our clothes off in front of people and jumping into a bath, right? And in case you don't know, some of these like super sentos, they're huge baths, big rooms with bathtubs all over them. There's a shower area where you go first and you first shower and take off the filth, and then you go and jump in one of the sentos. Now there's a super hot sento is the most normal one, but some places have different temperatures. They have the really, really hot one, and they have the super cold one, freezing one. And some of them even have an electric one where you go in and like certain parts of the bath are, oh, there's a little bird there. Certain parts of the bath are electrified. So as you get closer to one part of the wall, you can feel the electricity running through your body. And I guess it's some kind of therapy or something, I don't know. I mean, I've done it before. It's not really pleasant, but I feel like it's a challenge, so I have done it. So someone left a cushion, someone dropped a cushion, probably off a bicycle, and they left it there so another person could find it. Anyway, so those are sentos. Back to something interesting about the sento thing, is that my second girlfriend in Japan, I'd been here less than 6 months or so, and I met her, and she was actually still a high school student, and I was 21, and she was 18 or something. And after she graduated from high school, after she was no longer a high school student, I asked her out, and we went out. And in the course of our conversations, we talked about her sento and blah, blah, blah. Her bathing with her father. Somehow, I don't know how it got to that part of the conversation. Remember, this is like over 25 years ago. And she's an old bag now, probably, I guess, but she told me she bathed with her father until she was 18, and I was like super shocked. And I think she noticed that I was super shocked, and she quickly changed and said, "Oh, no, I'm joking." But to be honest, later I thought, I don't think she was really joking. I think she was just, she just realized that I was super shocked. And she didn't want to seem like a freak or something. She didn't want to seem abnormal. As King's report, no, man, I'm so close to remember that word, the guy's name. Kingsley report, King, oh, damn. Here's another weird, I think that's a carpenter down there. I've been in the house on the left. Some woman invited me, insisted I come home and meet her daughter, even though I said I was married. But you gotta meet my daughter, maybe you can find someone for her. Really weird. I went home because I went to her house. I like weird people inviting me home, and I kind of let the world, you know, be like a big tidal wave or big wave, and just I go with the flow sometimes. I just like going with the flow sometimes. So. Anyway, so yeah, I think my ex-girlfriend actually bathed with her father until maybe she was 17, and I got to tell you, she was hot and built, and like she had a very voluptuous body. I mean, not huge, not abnormal huge breasts, but she had a gorgeous body, like an ass that wouldn't quit, and really big beautiful breasts. So that thought of her bathing with her father, I just thought was really weird. But if you really think about it, you know, why? It's her father, you know. There really should be nothing wrong with being naked with your own father, even if you have a hot body, right? The sexualization that we put on these situations are really our problem, not their problem. There's nothing wrong with a daughter bathing with her father. I mean, yeah. Just because your daughter's got a hot body doesn't mean you're actually going to molest her, right? But of course, it probably, I'm sure that doesn't, I don't know. I can't say I'm sure or anything, but who knows if that was true or not. But anyway, and if you really think about it, if you're gay and you go to a sento or onsen or one of the hot springs or public baths, that's what those are, by the way, then it's kind of this, you have every chance of being sexualized or sexualizing rather the situation as well. So that three-headed god is sitting on some kind of inoshishi or pig, wild boar. Gods eat a lot in Japan, so they have these bibs to keep the crumbs off them. Okay. Anyway, I should probably be getting to work. How long have we been going here? 22 minutes. Okay. Well, anyway, that's my point here, I guess, at the end of the day is that, you know, you do what you're comfortable with, and they're your children. And there is always a chance that you have married into a family where someone has a child molester in it, which is really a horrible thought to have. But it's true. I mean, you can't control other people and situation. And of course, child molesters and pedophiles have family too. And you've got to use, in the end of the day, it's your child, and you've got to use your best judgment. Correct? So there's nothing you can do about that. So just use your best judgment. Now, it would be really sad, of course, if my friend's father-in-law or mother-in-law was a child molester, and if he picked up any vibes like that, then he would have to say, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't feel comfortable. The lucky thing about all this for him is that he's a foreigner. So even if he feels uncomfortable because of some weird reason, as he suspects, he suspects that one of the in-laws, either his father-in-law or mother-in-law is sexualizing his child, then he can easily blame his own foreignness on it and say, well, it's just not my culture, so I'd rather you didn't do it. I'm sorry. I hope you understand. You get away with it that way. But, or you can just really make waves and rock the boat and tell your wife, I think your father's a pedophile, or I think your mother's a pedophile, which would really be uncomfortable. So. And yeah, well, you wouldn't be spending many holidays. You wouldn't spend New Year's with your in-laws anymore, I guess. So. Okay, so that was that's basically what I think about that. At the end of the day, I think it's sad that you can't, that people automatically sexualize all photos and all naked children. So I was in Thailand, and what I mean specifically about that is, I was in Thailand a few years ago with my wife. Not alone. I was in Thailand with my wife. So here he's going to go through the garbage here. So. And she and I were at the beach, some poor area. Ohayou gozaimasu. Nanka ii mono mitsuketa? Ne? A vacuum. Ah, camera. そうそう。
そんなちっちゃいカメラなの？
そうそう新しいモデル。
おお、性能いいんだな。
うん。
これどこの製品？
これどこかな？アメリカ。
アメリカ。
アメリカ。そう。それも見えるね。はい。自分のアメリカに住んでる家族に送るから。これ私の近所だよと。また。So, anyway. I'll have to add the subtitles to that, God damn it. So, he's probably not homeless, he's just probably old and jobless and has to scrounge around for something. What was I going to say? Oh yes, I was in Thailand with my wife and we were at the beach and it was kind of a poor area in Thailand. Some smaller town somewhere in the rinky-dink country. And all these naked little boys were running on the beach and jumping into the water, and there's a little like river running out. The little river was running out into the ocean, and they were like jumping into the river. And it was, I had my camera with me. It was an older type camera. Yeah, I think it was or maybe it was one of the earlier digitals, or maybe it was a real film camera, I don't remember. But anyway, I took some amazing photographs, action photographs of these kids like jumping naked into the water, like the water splashing, and really good action shots. And I think they're black and white. I'm pretty sure they're black in my memory. I don't know where they are now. They're somewhere in my attic somewhere. Or a third, I don't really have an attic, I have a third floor. I put all my junk in. Oh, here's some beautiful flowers too, look at that. Oh, there's a bird. I wish I could zoom for you guys. I think I can zoom, but I'm not sure how to do it with this. Look at that. Anyway, so I took these great photographs, but of course, I cannot put them anywhere and I cannot share them. And I think that's a shame because they're really cool, like National Geographic type photographs of these naked kids running on the beach. Right? Because, you know, I want to blame the West on this, but we Westerners tend to automatically assume or sexualize any photographs of naked children. And a funny hat. Ohayou gozaimasu. Yeah, so now I didn't forget, but there was a bathroom that we passed in the park recently. There's a park, by the way, there's a park along, remember that one of the dragons we saw? There was a park we walked through that was empty, of course, because it's morning, all the kids are at school. Let me tell you the story. So, hope my nose is not running, it's kind of cold. So about, I guess it must have been fall, it wasn't too cold. I took my kids, I walked my kids to hoiku, or nursery school, and I was sitting there in the park for a minute. I don't know, maybe taking videos or something. And I noticed though, man and woman had gone into the bathroom, that toilet that I told you about. And they were both like they had both come separately. Like she came in a white van. And he had somehow walked there, and he was like middle-aged and kind of chubby and overweight. And she was also middle-aged but thin and had short, like obasan hair. When women get older here, they tend to get short haircuts because it's easier to deal with. I call it obasan hair. Old bees. This is a izakaya. For some reason, they decorate them with old beehives sometimes. I don't know why. There's something similar to that that indicates they sell alcohol, but that is not what that is. Anyway, so so it was weird because it's a really open toilet. You can like look in there. You can close one door if you want to take a poop, but the right side, it's a unisex toilet. So the right side is it's got a urinal, and the left side's got a little closed. It's a washiki. Yeah, yoshiki. I think it's a Western toilet. I don't remember now, but anyway, I was surprised. So I guess they were maybe having an affair or something, and that's the only place they could meet. Who knows? It's kind of weird. Yeah. Anyway, so thanks for watching my long ass video. I am interested in knowing if you got to the end of this video, though. What can you? I don't know. Tell me something about what. Okay, how about this? At what age did you stop bathing with your parents, or do you have any photographs like that of you and your parents when you were an infant, you and your mom and dad nude, or maybe you and your children? What do you think about that? Nudity, children, infants, and adults nudity. What do you think? That's the question. When you get to the end of this video, tell me about that. Tell me what age you stopped being nude with your parents. I do know a girl back in New York when I was, I guess it must have been 18, 19, 20 in that time period before coming to Japan, who told me she was nude with her dad, like in the morning in the toilet, not like hanging out nude, but when they go, like he would pee in front of her and she would brush her teeth just wearing her panties. And she had a very developed body as well. And she would sit there in her panties, brush her teeth, and topless, you know, and her dad would walk in and take a pee. And she thought it was completely fine. And she's a very sexual person, but that was not a sexual, that's not a sexualized scenario. So just because someone has sexual potential doesn't mean that everything they do is sexual, right? And you think about that, this is a hard thing to kind of wrap your head around sometimes, I think, but just because someone has a fuck me body, excuse my language, doesn't mean that's what they're thinking. That's what you're thinking, right? And there are, I mean, you're not born into a body with, just because you're born into that kind of body, it doesn't mean you have that kind of sexuality, right? You could be completely asexual and have a super hot body, and the opposite could exist too. You could have very how do I say it? A very unexciting body, or typically unsexual body, but be very sexual, right? You could be like, oh, I want to have sex all the time, but you might have a very skinny or fat or whatever. You could be a perv. Not perv, I shouldn't say perv. You could be very healthy, sexually healthy, in a body that most of us, that society would deem not very interesting. Anyway, so keep that in consideration next time you sorry about that. Keep that in consideration. Just good to know. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video, and then of course please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and all that stuff. See you soon.